a sunny and gorgeous Monday afternoon. I was supposed to be off today, but that off day is over. We have blockbuster news. When the Browns restructured Myles Garrett's contract, Zac Jackson was one of the few who said Myles Garrett could very well be traded, and fans got mad at him. Fans got mad every time we brought up a possible Myles Garrett trade, and now he's been traded. Obviously, Zach, as recently as last week, and Zach is with us now, you had said, hey, I don't know that he's going to get traded for sure, but why else would they have done what they did? Well, now we know he was getting traded all along. They had to wait to June 1st, and here it is. We don't have all the details yet, but we do know they'll get young pass rusher Jared Verse, who has been very good for the Rams in his first 2 years, a Pro Bowler both years, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 26. He had 7.5 sacks in his second year last year. They get at least the first-round pick and more. Your reaction, Zach, start us off.
Yeah, I think the Browns had to do this, right? I think that their timelines, the team's timeline did not match Myles Garrett's timeline. I don't necessarily think this is a tank bull. I think this is an embracing of reality, right? It's clarity. Yeah. The Browns and Myles were not on the same page, right? Jim Schwartz had something to do with that. The trade request from a year and a half had something to do with that. The lack of any answer at quarterback had something to do with that. And so it was time. So I think the parties decided we're not going to go public about it. We're going to make this contract modification. It obviously went public. And that was the only explanation. The Rams are all in.
Yep.
They are a Super Bowl contender. They get a weather-changing force in Myles Garrett, right? The Browns get a young pass rusher. The Browns can, turn to their new coach and say, hey, we just traded your best player, but now you get the chance to set your culture.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot that went into it, but this was always the most likely resolution. Now we're waiting on the price. And my holdup was always, when we talked about this many times, who's actually going to pay this price? Well, Jared Verse and a one and whatever else it ends up being is a price that will be debated, and we'll see how this goes out. But I think this is a trade the Browns had to make. And look, I've been critical of Andrew Berry. I'm going to be critical of Andrew Berry until the wins come and quarterback is solved. Right. But he put his ego aside because we said he didn't want to be the guy that traded for Deshaun Watson and traded away Myles Garrett. Well, now he's both. And we see if he gets to keep his job and really lay out a plan for the next couple of years for getting this team back to respectability.
Yeah. As you said, we'll see what they ultimately get. And it's hard to win a trade when you trade one of the best players in the history of the sport. For the Rams, this trade's a no-brainer. No, it doesn't matter what you had to give up, right? It's irrelevant.
Yes. It is. You have Matt Stafford at the end of his contract, right? You have Puka, you don't know. You still have Devontae Adams on the team. You have a coach. You're in the most loaded division in football, probably, and you feel like you should have won the Super Bowl last year. So let me tell you a story. 2023, December, the Browns play in SoFi Stadium against the Rams for the first time. Myles Garrett is walking out of the locker room. He doesn't know which way to go to the team buses. As he's getting instructed which way to go, a SUV pulls up next to him. The window rolls down. It's Sean McVay. Sean McVay looks at Myles and says something to the effect of, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on this podcast or not, but he basically says,
you can cuss.
He says, I didn't sleep a fucking wink all week because of you, right? and he's not the only person that's thought that or said that.
Yeah.
Myles said that's maybe the most direct way he's been told that. But that this is what the Rams wanted. And so the Rams are looking for one piece to get him over the top. It's not one piece. It's not one factor, but you couldn't do better than this piece. This is dwarfed whatever's going to happen for AJ Brown.
Yes.
Right. This dwarfs the Bengals, trading for Dexter Lawrence and all of that. So there's all sorts of change, and the Browns have to stack good decisions on top of one another. But this probably had to happen, Bull. And that's what I kept leaning. Like, are they really going to trade Myles Garrett? Well, nobody wants to, but they had to. Let's be honest.
Listen, one of the things I thought of was, man, is Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson very happy right now that that Myles Garrett's out of the division.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was a move they had to make. And you can't even say they're tanking because, as you said, they get a guy. Listen, nobody's going to compare Jared Verse to Myles Garrett. It's apples and oranges. He's a good young pass rusher. There's not a pass rusher in football that makes the impact that Myles Garrett does. However, Jared Verse, based on his first 2 years in the league, is equivalent, in my mind, to getting a first-round pick. and you're getting a first-round pick next year in what's considered a loaded draft. Will it turn out to be? We shall see. But it is now you got 2 first-round picks when you're probably going to need to get a quarterback. We'll see what else they get. I know we were talking maybe 3 first-round picks, but so far it seems like, again, I'm not going to say they won. There's no way you can say the Browns won this trade, but you can say that it was smart to deal him because his value was only going to go down in the next couple of years as he got older, and it seems like they did pretty well in return.
They got clarity, they got flexibility, they got future capital. These are all things they needed. So my initial reaction is okay. This makes sense. This makes sense for both sides. And like I said, we'll talk deeper into what it means for how they're going to spin these picks forward. And is it a total tank? And it's not. But look, the dead money for the reason the Myles Garrett contract cannot process until tomorrow is because it would have been 41 in dead money, and the Browns don't have that, right? So now next year it's 26 of dead money when Watson's going to be 50 of dead money, and after next year you're pretty much cleaning that out. After next year, Teller's dead money's gone, Njoku's dead. There's nobody else to have dead money on except Watson, and this is the reason you're in this spot, right? So this is about moving the Browns forward. The 27 draft being a centerpiece, Jared Verse being a potential centerpiece as much as any of the guys that they drafted, last year. And we'll see. It was rather obvious they were shifting to Carson Schlesinger being the focus of the marketing efforts and that stuff. Myles never met Todd Monken, and Todd Monken now can set his culture without Myles Garrett.
Last thing, Zach, I know you got to go, and I appreciate you taking the time. Denzel Ward, could he be next? I know he's not. Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, that's the valuable. That's probably the more pressing question rather than what happens at quarterback with this capital and how it goes is Denzel Ward, Malik Collins, guys like Grant Delpit is only under contract for this year. So, yes, so that is certainly interesting. Denzel Ward has always been a perfect attendance guy. And I don't mean just showing up at OTAs, like every day of the offseason program. And he hasn't been here this year, Bull. So, that's certainly a maybe for next as the Browns try to load up on stuff they're going to need. The bottom line here, Bull, is short of landing a top 3 pick, the Browns were going to need to trade a whole draft or trade Myles Garrett to position themselves to get the QB. So now that kind of both options are open.
No doubt. Zach, great stuff. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, Bull.
All right, Zac Jackson from The Athletic. We've had him on a bunch of times, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show as well. With the breaking news, we're talking about it. Myles Garrett. I'm efforting for some other guests as well. We'll see if we can get it done. I just texted right before we went on the air. I texted my guy Sean King to see if he had a chance to come on. I haven't heard back from Sean yet, but obviously if I hear from Sean, we'll get his thoughts on this. And like we just discussed, now, again, you can't have a full opinion until you see all the details of what the Browns got in this deal. And Adam Schefter hasn't had any more. Let's see if they're. I guess I shouldn't just look at this point at just Schefter, see if anybody else has any further information on this deal. But as of now, it is what we know. Is that Jared Verse, and I'll be honest, I had not heard of Jared Verse before today. Like, I didn't know who he was. And then when I looked it up, a second the trade happened, I'm looking up, I went on Pro Football Reference to see what his stats were. I looked on PFF to see where he ranked, which was very high last year. And then I was just reading about him, and he appears to be a very good player. Don't get me wrong. This trade is a huge win for the Rams, but you hope in the long run it could be a win for the Browns as well. It's very rare that you trade the best player, and Myles Garrett is arguably the best player in football, certainly the best defensive player in football. So I don't want to get crazy. Jared Verse is a nice player. He is not going to be Myles Garrett. To have those expectations, and again, he's been very good in his first 2 seasons. I have no reason to believe he won't be a very good player for the Browns. But have reasonable expectations. If you expect him to cause the havoc that Myles Garrett did, you're going to be sorely mistaken and disappointed. So be realistic. You've added a good player. To me, when we've talked about trading Myles Garrett, we've talked about at least 2 number ones. I know a lot of people wanted 3. even in the for a quarterback, you don't get 3. You usually trade 3 for 1, right? But they're getting a first-round pick next year. Now, that pick is probably a very late pick because you would think the Rams have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl, at least deep in the playoffs. Most likely, that's a bottom 4 to 8 pick, but you never know. And Verse and more. We have not yet found out what the more is, but this was a move that ultimately the Browns were wise. They were wise to trade Myles Garrett for as much as they can get. Whether they use the pieces they get to the best of their ability, we'll see. Andrew Berry, Darryl Ryder, my buddy Darryl, there's a golf event going on right now, and Andrew Berry just spoke to the media just after the report surfaced, and this is what Andrew Berry just said to Darryl Ryder, quote, real quick, obviously we wanted today to be about the Browns Foundation and everything that we're doing, the good work we're doing there. Not naive that there's a lot in the social media sphere regarding Myles. Nothing is final at this point. We are in discussions of a potential transaction, including him. I'll have a lot more to say about it once it's final, if it does become final, and I'll discuss the details at that point. But we are in negotiations. We're hopeful that we'll close something in the next year, in the next several hours, but nothing is final yet. Like I said, I'll have an update for you guys as soon as tomorrow when there's resolution. So we may not get the full details until tomorrow. I got to say, for those of you who are giving me and others shit for talking about a potential Myles Garrett trade, I want those apologies. I get asked for apologies all the time, and I'm not afraid to give an apology. But people were giving us such shit every time we talked about a Myles Garrett trade. They're not trading him. They're not trading him. Well, they restructured that contract for a reason. He wanted out. Honestly, I as great as he is, I think the team had some issue with the way he handled things last year. And, the one flaw in him is he's not a great leader in terms of leading by example, showing up, things like that. And as Zach said, hey, it's hard to say you change the culture in a positive way by trading your best player, but he gets, so I don't want to say, I'll just say they're resetting the culture. So this is fascinating. Thank you to the about 1,000 of you that are watching live right now. We'll know in the long run down the line once we use these draft picks, how well the Browns did in return. But I think at his age and the Browns are not being a serious contender right now, it made sense. And now you get a pass rusher. Again, I can't say this enough. We don't even know how good Jared Verse is. We know he's been very good his first 2 years in the league. We know he's not Myles Garrett. We know there's virtually no chance he's going to be Myles Garrett, but he's just 25 years old. He'll turn 26 in the season. Hasn't missed a game in his 2-year career. He's played all 34 games, 33 as a starter. He's forced 5 fumbles and has 12 sacks in 34 games. It's pretty good for a young player. 124 tackles in 34 games. As I mentioned, the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year and a Pro Bowler both in 2024 and 2025. So they get and he was a first-round pick by them in 2024. So you're getting 2 first-round picks. We know that. A guy who's been a first-round pick already and has proven himself in the league playing at a good level. A very good level. I shouldn't just say good, at a very good level. And a first-round pick in next year's allegedly loaded draft. What else the Browns get? There is more. I don't. If they get another first-round pick, then I got to say, I think they did as good a job as you possibly could. We'll see. I mean, I don't think they have to get that much more, honestly, besides Verse and the first-round pick, that I would say, okay, I get it. I understand why the Browns did it. I may not like it. I don't love trading Myles Garrett, but again, folks, I know there's a lot of fans that are going to be angry. I'm not apologizing for the team in any way. They're a terrible franchise. It's hard to have any faith in that they're going to do it right. I don't trust Andrew Berry at all. However, he has done a better job the last few years. And the truth is that Myles Garrett is going to turn 31 years old. So he's 5 years older than Jared Verse. Again, way better, but 5 years older. And obviously coming off his best season with a career-high 23 sacks, career-high 33 tackles for a loss. He's finished as the Defensive Player of the Year 2 of the last 3 years, including this past season. He's finished top 5 Defensive Player of the Year 4 years in a row. So that he's been an All-Pro, first-team All-Pro in 5 of the last 6 years, second team in 2022. He after missing some games earlier in his career, he's only missed 3 games in the last 5 seasons, and he finally got over the one bugaboo he had last year where he didn't play well at the end of the year. He did. I know he had, and so he's an unbelievable player. It's a huge loss. It's a great game for the Rams. This is an A+++ move. But I think, and again, I'll wait to fully go all in on how well the Browns did until I see exactly what they got. But already, the Browns getting Jared Verse and the first-round pick in the 27 draft, I think is very well done. I don't know that we'll have any further details of what else the Browns are getting in this deal. As long as I'm on here in the next few minutes. Adam Schefter said there was more coming. Jordan Schultz just tweeted, my understanding is there is more draft capital headed towards the Browns. So the Browns are positioning themselves, it looks like they did well in last year's draft. After 1 year, they did a great job outside of the terrible Dylan Gabriel pick. This year on paper, I think we all feel really good about what they did in the draft. Next year, if things go the way I expect this year, you're going all in on a quarterback in the draft and what's supposed to be, who knows, a better class and an overall very good draft. You'll have 2 first-round picks. The Browns have, I got to bring up all their draft picks because they have, I think, multiple rounds where they have where they have 2 picks. So, let's see. The Browns. Okay. This is 27. Where do the Browns pick in 27? Here we go. The Browns have now 2. Again, we don't know the full trade yet, but what we know, they've acquired Jared Verse. They now have 2 first-round picks in the 27 draft. A second, a third, 3 fourth-round picks, 2 fifth-round picks. Forget after that. But there you go. 2 firsts, a second, a third, 3 fourths, and 2 fifths. So they have 9 picks in the first 5 rounds of the draft. 7 picks in the first 4 rounds of the draft. 2 in the first. In what's, again, not just quarterbacks, but is expected to be a loaded draft. And that's what the Browns have done. By the way, former Brown, Odell Beckham Jr., along with Juju Smith-Schuster, both signing with the Giants, 2 veteran wide receivers signing with the Giants. This is a wild day as the calendar turns to June. The reason it happened today is when the Browns made that adjustment to Myles Garrett's contract, it allowed them to get out from some of the dead cap hit if it was a move after June the 1st. So that's why Andrew Berry's saying nothing's official yet, because it can't actually be official till June 2nd. But obviously this is a done deal. There's probably some T's to be crossed and some I's to be dotted. But this is happening. And Myles Garrett is going to be a Los Angeles Ram, which is crazy. Jared Verse was apparently born in Dayton. I didn't know that. I just saw Adam Schefter tweet that. And apparently he's going to wear a number 8. From my guy Cleve TA, Verse finished 18th among edge rushers in pressure rate last year with 9 sacks, 5th in pressure rate with 8 sacks. In 2024, Berry will so there you go. Let's see. Zac Jackson, who was just on with us before, if I was the Browns and I wanted to tell teams that I'd listen to crazy high offers for Myles Garrett, that I wouldn't be submitting a high bid for Brandon Sorsby, I'd exactly say what Todd Monken said today, which is that he said Monken today at the golf event said they weren't going to be in the mix for Brendan Sorsby, that they weren't if he goes in the supplemental draft. This is fascinating. All right, let's get some comments from the fans. And again, before I wrap up, if I do get any more news from anybody, I'm trying to get Sean King on. If I can't get him today, we'll try to bring him on Wednesday and get his reaction there. Dustin will be on with me live on the podcast tomorrow morning. So there you go. But as of now, that's all the details we have. Albert Breer saying the Rams backing out on an A.J. Brown got them even bigger, and the Ty Simpson selection freed them up to take that massive swing. This didn't happen overnight. Both teams considered plenty in doing this. That's what we got right now. Okay, fan reaction. And there's a million messages. Jason Richardson, Coach Todd Monken said, "Fuck Sorsby today." And folks, I tell you this all the time. What the coaches and GMs say don't matter. The Browns kept saying they weren't going to trade Myles Garrett. Then they traded Myles Garrett. Zac Jackson thinks Denzel Ward will be gone too. Mike Blakely said Ward will be gone next year. But Zach made a good point. Denzel Ward never misses OTAs, never misses anything in the offseason, and he's missed it this year. Wahoo Fan 222, this was done via Myles' request. In my humble opinion, Myles didn't want to play for the Browns anymore. Another new head coach in D.C. Yeah, but he hasn't wanted to play for the Browns for a couple of years. Lou, how many wins you got us for this year after Bull? Did your opinion change? Yes. Yes, of course my opinion changed. I think I had the Browns with 6 wins. I got them with 4 now. I'll have to think about it more, but off the top of my head, yeah, Myles Garrett is worth a win or two. And Jared Verse is a good player, but that's all you're getting. You're going from the best pass rusher in football to a good pass rusher. That's a big difference. In the long run, they'll have other draft picks to help supplement. But they're a worse team now. I mean, come on. There's no debate there. David says they really should have traded Myles last year. I don't know. They're going to get more than this. Let's see what they finally get. A lot of people saying 2-3 wins. Mark says 5-12. Yeah, I had the Browns 6. I think I picked them to go 6-11. I'd say off the top of my head now, I think they're a 4-5 win team at best. And if the quarterback play is, the quarterback play was terrible last year. I know some people think it's going to be better. I have no faith that the quarterback play is going to be any better. Shuttlesworth, now the personal jabs at Myles, which is typical, but fandom take. I didn't take any personal shots at Myles. I have no beef with Myles wanting out. If I was him, I'd want out too. I did say he was not a great leader. That was pretty obvious. I don't know that's a personal shot because I've said it before, but I got nothing else bad to say about Myles Garrett. The Rams pick is going to be very late, very likely. Could be the 32nd pick. Michael thinks the Browns' win total won't change. 5 wins without him, 5 with him. The Browns' defense has been very good the last few years, and he's the biggest reason why, and now you don't have him. So their defense is probably not going to be as good. I wasn't convinced it was going to be as good anyway without Jim Schwartz, and now you lost your excellent DC and your best player. So how could the defense be as good? I don't think the Browns, they might win 5 games, but whatever they finish with wins-wise, my guess is they would have had more wins with Myles Garrett. It's pretty hard to argue against that. Miss Kennedy the Cat, how could one blame him for wanting out? Good for him. I can't blame him at all. Mark Jones, I thought Andrew was smarter than this. Why? I think they felt like they had to trade him. The Browns aren't winning in the next year or two. It's going to take them time. They don't have a quarterback. Pause leftovers. It feels as if the NFL was forcing this. That's silly. Biloxi says this is a horrible move. Michael says freeways in Ohio can breathe now. That's funny. John, I could never support the dumbass Browns. Checkmate. Could be traded. He said left himself an out. No. Wahoo. Myles is a Hall of Fame pass rusher. AB is just in rebuild mode. Deer says trade Denzel and Grant too, then F it. Z, why can't we have nice things? Brody's bottom line, this is not even news, really? Mega Slow, how is making a basic true statement about his surfing tickets disparaging him? I think speeding, he meant to say. Elephant, wonder what G. Bush's take is on this. He'll be on UCSS tomorrow, I think, so you can find out. Is there a chance we get 3 firsts out of this? Maybe. I mean, if you include Jared Verse. You got 2 firsts. You got Jared Verse, who was a first-round pick in 24. I'd rather have that than a first-round pick in any of the upcoming years because this guy's already played really well for 2 years. So he's a first-round pick that's already panned out. You're getting a first-round pick in the 27 draft, and we'll see. Let me take one final look. See if Sean King texted me back. Not yet, so we'll have to try to get Sean later in the week. And let me see if there's any update from anybody on the return in the trade that I could share. No, there's nothing else. So I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. Thank you. There's 1,108 of you right now watching. If any of you have not hit the subscribe button for my podcast, please do so now. It helps everything, and I really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button. It takes you 2 seconds, costs you no money. I really appreciate it. So there you go. All right, I'll be back on live tomorrow morning at 8:30. Dustin and I will break this trade down again, and we'll have the full details, obviously, by then, or I guess we don't know for sure. And I'll work on getting Sean King on this week as well. Until then, thanks to the guys for producing today, Levi and I think it was Max. I didn't get to see. It was either Max or Alex. I'll give credit to Alex then. Thanks, guys, for jumping in so quick. Thanks, all of you, for joining me so quick. I'll talk to you next time. Where else? Love you too. But right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.